every month we have barista students, and part of our culture is to ask them to bring 2 questions to attend class. Some are very repeatable. There are some questions that are very interesting. Yeah, never been asked. So here, I would like to share the questions to you all and answers that from me, and hopefully you can learn all this Q&A. Yeah. So let's start with the first question from Tiba. Okay, let me have a look. All right, for the first question, if you're into coffee, I think you should really drink black coffee. There are some cannot drink that, they just don't drink black coffee. There's a reason why. I would say you can slowly get rid of milk coffee, and milk coffee to me it's a pleasure drink. You will not bring you anywhere. If you're into sensory training, milk coffee will not bring you anywhere. How did I started drink black coffee? At first I was drinking milk coffee. I still drink milk coffee because I roast my own beans. I need to try my own beans. So my first cup of the day usually will be milk coffee, and then following cups will be in the afternoon, or second cup before lunch I will do black. You need to drink black coffee, so you need at least 1 cup of black coffee. So you can continue with your milk coffee, but try to get black coffee for your second cup. Or else you can try with piccolo latte. Switch your latte into piccolo latte, and then slowly from piccolo latte lesser milk, and then switch into black coffee like Americano or long black. Following questions, second question from Tiba. I think she meant can she choose the roast level? There are not much of cafes or roastery would serve choices of coffee. So usually I would think that 80% of or I would say 90% of the cafes you don't get to choose, but you get to choose filter coffee beans instead of everyday coffee like latte, Americano, and long black and espresso, all this. But I would suggest you, if you ever can, I would suggest you to drink medium light. For example, Ethiopia coffee is something you cannot skip if you're into coffee. From Brazil, Indonesia, the next you should choose filter coffee or medium light roasted long black Americano like Ethiopia Yoga Chef or Ethiopia natural process, some sort of that. Yeah. Next we have questions from Fatiha. Yes, the filter paper does make the coffee different because the thicker of the filter paper, the more it filters. For example, the oil, the sugar content, the sweetness, the body will have more filtered out, so you get a cleaner cup, more clarity. And let's say vice versa for thinner, extra thin filter paper, you have more body and faster flow. Yeah. So for me personally, I do not like to mess around too much of variables. I would like to use the classic paper. I try not to mess around because I try not to confuse myself from all this. Yeah. Next question. Yes, it does. The volume of the cup, like the capacity of the cup size of your coffee cup, it is part of the recipe. So usually we will serve our milk coffee full cup. For example, 220 ml versus 150 ml is totally different taste. One is more intense, 150 ml. Another one is less intense. And the design and texture, according to SCA, they did a lot of research on this. Yes, it does have drinking experience different. Yeah, I will not say taste. I'm not too sure about that, but I would say the overall drinking experience, yeah, it will be different. The next question, stale coffee beans. Stale or non-stale, I believe you can make cold brew out of it. It's just probably less potent, less flavorful, stale coffee beans. If you ever make cold brew coffee from stale coffee beans, you probably have lesser flavor. Okay, next question. Okay, what she meant in this question, she meant if ever a barista get to knock the group head after temp. Yes, it does affect the coffee extraction. It's called channeling. So when you knock the group head accidentally, if you knock the group head with your portafilter with loaded coffee puck, you have a high risk of crack up the coffee puck, right? So when you crack up, then you have channeling. So the water go through the channel, which is less resistant. So go through there, that will have tasteless coffee or not so even extracted coffee. Right, next question. We have Darren. Okay, let's go. No, burnt coffee is not a good thing. So, coffee is always good. Coffee is always not burnt. Yeah, no smoky, no ashy. No, we don't reheat coffee. So the next question is whether we can reheat coffee. No, we don't reheat coffee. Yeah. We usually will redo coffee instead of reheat coffee. Let's say customer asking for a coffee that's too lukewarm, we will reheat. We will redo the whole order. Next question from Yen. How to be consistent? It really depends on how you got trained. And second of all, in this kind of skill set require you constantly making coffee, having a routine that will make your skill set more consistent, and also to avoid customer from complaining your coffee is too lukewarm, your coffee is too hot. The next question is about puck screen. I'm not a fan of puck screen. It used to be a hype probably like 3-4 years ago. It's very hype and everyone is using puck screen. But right now, with the technology comes out, right now they changed the group head shower screen, right? Instead of puck screen. So the puck screen initial logic, it is to disperse the water onto the puck, coffee puck, right? Much more even water distribution. Through my experience, not so noticeable difference, but one thing for sure, the puck screen needs to clean up. So, and cleaning that up is very, very painful. It's a long process. You need to use steam and hot water, or you need to buy a ultrasonic cleaner. Not worth of my time for doing that. Yeah. Next coffee question from Sui Get. Yes, we can use the used coffee ground, the coffee puck, for flowers and plant, and for pottery, it acts as a fertilizer. Yeah. Next question, CopyLuak. I'm not a fan of CopyLuak. I don't think any coffee professional that I heard of is a fan of CopyLuak. I'm a skeptic. I don't think digestion process will improve the coffee quality, and I don't buy the idea they have to cage the animals to feed them cherries so they can harvest their poop. I'm not buying this idea and concept. Yes, the higher altitude to grow the coffee cherry, not to say it for sure is better, but usually it will be more dense because it will slow down the yield, because higher, and also with higher climate you get your yield slower. Slower means supposedly you get a better density or density development, also sugar content development, much more denser. Alright, that's it for all the questions I have. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something from this video. Take care guys, and cheers. Bye.